Hey guys, welcome to my macros video. In this video I'll be explaining which macros I use and how you can set them up as well. Alright, let's get to it. First macro is ambush. It will use premeditation and ambush at the same time. This is very good to get off 4 combo points. Here's a quick example of me using the macro. As you can see, I have 4 combo points with just one click. This is my backstab macro. If I'm in range, it will use backstab, and if I'm out of range, it will use throw. This macro comes in handy when I'm being rooted, so I can at least pull off some damage by range. It's also a good way to keep people in combat. Next is my mouseover blind macro. This is a very useful macro when fighting multiple people, and you can pull off fast CC. My primary target is the elite training dummy. Then I mouse over the level 60 training dummy and blind him. This is my cheap shot macro. It will use premeditation and cheap shot at the same time. This will also give you 4 combo points and is very good to follow up with a slice and dice. This is basically my super tank macro. It will use combat readiness, and if I have Symbiosis, it will use Growl. It will use Feint, a Healthstone, and the Horde battle standard flag. Here's a pretty good example of the macro being used. As you can see, it uses Growl, Feint, combat readiness, and the Horde battle standard flag. And I did have a Healthstone, so you can see the heal right there. It's just a good way to tank a bunch of enemies, and it's also a good idea to mix it up with smoke bomb. Just make sure you keep on spamming Feint so you reduce a lot of damage. Next up is Garrote. Same thing as cheap shot and ambush. It will use premeditation and Garrote at the same time. As you can see here, it will use premeditation first and Garrote. It will give you 3 combo points, and you can also follow up with a slice and dice. This is my glider macro. It's more of a self-preference. The reason I have this macro is because I don't really like seeing the cape icon. I'd rather see the glider icon. Your glider should work just fine. Next is my nitro macro. It will use my rocket boots and my nitro boost. After the rocket boots is over, just make sure you equip your normal boots. This is my recuperate macro. It will use premeditation and recuperate. You do have to double click this macro so it can work. It is very useful when you need to get heals when you're on low health. Next is my sap macro. What this macro does, it clears your target and only targets enemy players. It's very good to get stealthies out, and it is spammable. All you have to do is spam the macro and it will knock someone out of stealth. Next is my shadow dance macro. If I'm in stealth, it will cancel it so it won't bar lag. It will use shadow dance, it will trickster trade my partner, and it will use my engineering gloves. Slice and dice. It uses premeditation and slice and dice. You do have to hit it twice so it can work, and you can follow up with a quick burst such as shadow dance or shadow blades. Next up is my synapse macro. Again, this is only self-preference, and it's also a good way so it can show me when the cooldown's back up. Stealth. This is a very good macro because it will cancel your auto attack. You can spam stealth, and if you click it again, it will use shadow walk without pulling you out of stealth. Tricks of trade. All this macro does is automatically tricks of trade my partner, so it saves me the hassle of targeting him. Vanish. This macro will stop my attack and cast vanish. This is very useful because sometimes when you vanish, you manage to get a hit off and it will knock you out of stealth. This will prevent it. Bandages. This macro is very useful because of cancel subterfuge, stealth, and I'll use wind wool bandage. I sap my target and use the macro. It cancels subterfuge and stealth and uses bandages just in time so I can get a re-stealth. This is the very same as bandages, but instead of using bandages, it will use my food. This is my last macro. This is very good when fighting lots of people, but first I'm going to show you how to set it up. This is World of Warcraft's targeting system. As you can see, it targets pets and enemy players. The macro I'm going to show you will only target enemy players. The very first thing you need to do to make this macro work is go to keybinds and unbind target nearest enemy. Second, make the macro /target enemy player. Drag it to your action bar and keybind it to your liking, and you should be good to go. My primary target is the hunter. He fake dabs, target his pet, he gets back up, and it will only target the enemy player. Those are all of my macros. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and took something from it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, Reaper logging out.